Bonjour, mon ami. It is I, Christine. Welcome to PartyChat podcast, and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Fantastic Four: The First Steps, or Fantastic Four: First Steps, whichever one it is. Just got home from seeing the movie in the theater with my husband and my daughter, and overall, I'm going to start off with my rating: 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. The movie is okay. It does have a family friendly tone, so you don't have to worry about anything being too dark or way too heavy for you if you're watching it with your kids or with family members or what have you. I do think that this was a movie that you don't have to know anything else about Marvel in order to watch this and enjoy it. You don't have to know anything else about the MCU to watch this and enjoy it. I have only seen the first Fantastic Four from way back when, and I haven't seen the second one. It just never happened. I do want to see it. And in fact, I actually want to see it even more now. And I didn't read the comic book. So going into this, I didn't know a whole lot about these characters, about what they do, or about their story. So starting off with the cast, as far as the cast, I enjoyed the characters. I think the cast did a very good job of acting out these characters. Pascal Pedro disappeared in his role. I didn't even see Pascal. I saw Reed Richards. So I think he did a really good job, especially now where some of us may be getting a little Pedro fatigue. I do feel like he did a really good job. And I feel like even Vanessa Kirby, uh, Eddie from Stranger Things playing Johnny Storm, and Edon, I believe is his name. Let me just make sure I get it right. Ebon, he did really well as the Thing. I enjoyed the character. I liked the white boy from Brooklyn accent, and even seeing him navigate his day to day and how he navigates being out and comfortable in his skin, which I really enjoyed, especially with his contrast to the first movie. I will say that with all of these characters, except for Sue Storm, I don't think that we really got to know these characters. I don't think that we really got to know who they truly are, how they truly are, or we didn't get enough emotional time with them. I feel like Sue Storm's the only one that we did get more of, especially in her role as a mother in this movie. But I don't think that we got a really a lot of depth with these characters. When it comes to visual effects, I feel like they did, for me, they looked good. When it came to design of the city, think Jetsons, futuristic, but also 50s, 60s, early 60s vibe. I think the movie did a good job with design. There are going to be some moments when you watch this movie where CG could have been a lot better. Actually, there is a moment in particular that it's bad CG, but overall, I think that they did a pretty decent job. And especially when it comes to Thing, I feel like he looked really, really good. He has a little change that happens halfway, or I think the last part of the movie, last third of the movie, and it looked good on him. So as a character, he did look a little awkward with the big eyebrows at first, but you get used to it. I think the character and how he's portrayed really pushes you past what he looks like. And I think when he has that face change, or that thing, the change, I shouldn't have said face change, but the thing that happens, I really enjoyed. So when it comes to, the robot, I really enjoyed the robot as a character. I thought he was fun. He was kind of like a helpful puppy that'll help you with things. And I think that his design and look is really, really good. It reminds me of that movie in like the 80s where there was like a robot that, was it the 80s or the 90s, where there's a robot that was like kind of a conscious robot that was like escaping a lab or something like that. Let me know down below if you know what movie I'm talking about. Story-wise, I feel like, again, the story isn't too stirring in any direction. It's not a very heavy story. It is more on the lighthearted side. You do not get crazy depth in this movie. You just get enough to understand what is happening. Like, you leave the movie completely not confused. However, I do feel like they didn't do enough to really pull you in or lean into the audience for this film. I do feel like there was definitely a huge need for a connecting thread for the audience. But plot you can understand from A to B and from A to Z actually. And I do feel like the when it comes to the bad guy, I do wish we got more from him. I do wish that we got to learn more about the villain and more about this character, his drive, his motion, not motion, his motivation, excuse me. We didn't get enough in the movie, I feel, to really feel connected to the villain. So he kind of fell flat for me. Look wise, I feel like in some parts he looked good, some parts I was confused as far as scale because there was some confusion on scale. And I think it had to do with the shots, the camera shots that they put in this film. But the voice, 10 out of 10. We need to keep with these deep voice villains. Yes, please. When he spoke, I was like, yes, let me listen. But outside of that, and he looked, like the villain that we see in the comic books, but it just, I feel like they didn't do enough to have me invested in that character. Um, the pacing, I do feel like the pacing is a bit all over the place. It's very slow at the beginning because you're dropped in the middle of their story, which I think is fine. I did enjoy how they did the flashback sizzle reel way of explaining their origin to us. And that's completely fine. And you can clearly see the chemistry between the actors and the characters where it shows that they have been together for a long time. They have known each other for a very long time. They have loved each other for a very long time. However, as someone just coming in, you kind of feel like, I would say a little bit out of place in the movie when it comes to you as the viewer watching these group of people. And pacing is really I would say the biggest flaw with this movie. Timing in the beginning is very slow. Then it kicks off with basically the point, right? And then the pacing during that point where their preparation for the impending doom is happening really fast, but the villain's travel doesn't make sense to the timeline. And in this movie, there is no set time stated for you as the viewer to really know how long this movie is taking, like how much time has passed since we started the movie to where we get to the end. So I definitely feel like pacing was definitely a thing. When it came to humor, I think that they a lot of times it made me smile. There is one particular thing that did make me laugh, but I know it's something that a lot of people are going to hate, but it made me laugh. Everything else, there would be humorous times that would just make me smile, right? But nothing really made me like, like extremely laugh, right? Except for one. One thing made me laugh. I chuckled. Maybe I laughed. As far as costume design, I feel like their costumes were just fine. It does again fit that 50s futuristic 60s type of vibe and look. And I do feel like it was a little plain, but I feel like it fit. It fit the vibe that they were going for. So it's not really a complaint, more of like a preference. I would have liked some more zhuzh in it or something more dynamic, but it fit what they were going for as far as the style of the film and the place and everything. Um, for the MCU, how does this feed into the MCU? It is, as you know, when you see in the trailer, it is not in our realm, but I do feel like again, it's its own movie. It is its own movie. It's not tied to anything. So it doesn't really feed into the MCU yet, but I think it will as we progress through these MCU movies. So again, as a whole, for me, the movie is a 7 out of 10. I did enjoy the characters, and in order of enjoyment, I would say is a character I'm not going to name, the robot, Sue, Johnny, Thing, Reed Richards. He kind of fell flat for me the most, but I don't think it was an acting issue. I think it was a writing issue for sure. But that was my review for Fantastic Four, the first steps. Let me know down below. Did you see the movie? What'd you think? What are your feelings? talk to me. Let me know down below in the comment section. Don't forget to hug the life out of that like button. I love you guys as always. And until next time, buddies, toodles.